Hi everyone. Actually, this lecture is about how to deal with the long COVID. Doesn't matter with any COVID, not necessarily long. This is not very traditional approach because I am in Ayurveda. Who doesn't know, who not aware about it, you can just type Ayurveda and just dig it out. What is that all about? So very simple and also very complicated. It depends which side you choose. So basically, how to deal with the long COVID. This is very important thing to understand this. And to understand this, you have to understand what your body contains of. So then you can deal obviously with that. So basically, we go very quickly. This is not a detailed lecture, but in general. Our body contains 5 gross materials. The one is the heaviest one, is the earth. So basically, mass of our body, it has some earth element. Even when we cremated, still ashes left. So this is the earth element. So the second one is the water. It's more clear for everyone, obviously, because our blood is the water. Any liquids in our body basically depends on the age, contains water. Depends on the age, is like from 90 to 70% contains water. So it was second element. The third element is the fire element. So our body is warm, so it keeps on 36.6 degrees Celsius. So that means we have, in general terms, sun's energy. Sun is giving us the heat, the warmth. So the fire in our body is responsible also for our health. It takes very big part. So that was the number 3. So the number 4 is the air. So breathing. Yeah, so if we run out of the oxygen, we cannot stay alive. That becomes deadly if we're out of oxygen, even for a few minutes. And the last one is the ether, which is very difficult to comprehend and understand. But basically, like the waves in the ether, the radio signals, and also what it contains our body. It puts all the structure. So what we have 5 of these elements, and we have 3 subtle ones. Is false ego, mind, and intelligence. So they are also separate, but that pretty much for us to deal with it. So now, as you understand how our body is contained of, we can understand what needs to be fixed. So basically, before that, you need to understand that we become ill when we have this balance. So basically, where is too much of one element or not enough. Let's say I losing contact with the water, with the earth, so it will become this balance. How can I lose this contact with the earth? Basically, if I am never approaching the water, lake or seaside or the river, and I'm not staying in the park anywhere close to the earth, so these elements become weak. This is not a fairy tale, this is very serious. Yeah, I'm just trying to give you an example. For example, if you like wild swimming, you're increasing this element. And each of these elements, they represent very powerful nature elements. For example, as I mentioned, the sun gives us heat. Yeah, so, and digestion of the information and digestion of the food. Basically, directly on the fire depends our health. When our fire becomes weak, for example, these days many people being told off that the sun is not good, is killing you, giving a cancer, skin cancer, etc. So this is because the people are very weak, they are quite polluted. That's why they cannot stay on the sun, they have no idea what is happening to them. But basically, once the fire element becomes low, when you not interact with the sun, that's very good space for the disease to sit, in our case for the virus. And you won't be able to get rid of that at all, because your body is like a palace for the virus. So you can take many vitamins, you can take any, as it was, I was reading, special water, electrolyzed, and other bits and pieces. It's not gonna help, because it's not enough fire to accept all that. So basically, yes, coming to that, and also I was mentioning the air element. Yeah, once, how we can run out of the air, it is when we stop moving. When we stop moving, the air stops moving in our body also. Yeah, air is the element which needs movement. So I just mentioned how we get in this balance, and now how to reinstate this all. For example, sitting in the cold water, it's very helpful and it's very healing energy. When you approach cold water, and you, especially for the women, they're saying, oh, I already feel cold now, how am I supposed to get in something cold? So that's exactly shows that you are short of that water element. That's why you have these feelings. So basically you have this balance of the water, and you also automatically have this balance with the fire. Yeah. Representation of fire in your body is very weak, because you get cold very quickly. So basically, by sitting in the cold water certain time, it gives you strength for your mind also, because this is a moon's energy. Yeah? The coldness being represented by the moon. So you become strong, your memory becomes stronger, your mind, so the anxiety will be set aside, and like that. It's very powerful treatment. So after you've been sitting in the water for a certain time, there is special how to say program for that. It's not just you go in, dip in and out. You have to spend certain time. I have some videos on my website, so you can take example, you can watch, and there is other description with these videos, so you can watch carefully about that. So that's the water. Yeah, so you have to stay a certain time in the water to get reinstated your energy. So you become stronger, your sleep will become much nicer, your memory becomes better, and you become more relaxed. If you're not relaxed at all, so you become at least relaxed. The water, that element, it gives you the relax. So the next element is the heat. So the heat, to get the heat, the fire in your body, you need to interact with that. Yeah, so that means you have to stay on the sun. The heat element gives you, the sun is basically giving you happiness also. Yeah, so once you're ignoring the sun, you don't like the sun, so you're losing the happiness automatically. And obviously, what I mentioned before, you're losing good digestion, you're becoming castle for the virus. Like we say in the spiritual world, body is the temple for the soul, and in this case is becoming the temple for the virus. So how to improve fire element? So after we staying in the water is still not absorbed properly. So to absorb the water properly, you have to do statics. So basically you stay without any movement except hands. You can move hands. For example, if you stand next to the wall and you stay for 65 minutes, so you will get your legs numb, you have certain pain. It depends on your degrees. Some of you may not be able to do that at all, but at least you start with a few minutes, with 5 minutes, with 10 minutes. You need to reach 65 minutes. Basically, as I mentioned before in other videos and explaining, you have to cross all 5 channels. Yeah, so basically there is a datus. I don't want to complicate all this video with the special words, which is Sanskrit words. Yeah, so but you have energy levels. The one is on the top is responsible for the skin, the one is a bit deeper for the tissues under the skin, the third one for the blood and muscles, then it goes deeper for the bones, and then for the last one is much deepest for the reproductive system, for the sperm, for the, it's like that, for the liquid in the bones. So to stay in the water, you need to clean those 5 channels. Energy have to go through those 5 channels. So now we're talking about staying solid, staying in static. Also, it has to go energy through the all 5 channels. Certain time, 65 minutes. If you stay less, it still works for few channels, but not all 5. So basically, if you can make it 65 minutes, that means you absorb all that water you've been sitting in. Even if you don't do this exercise, still water helps you a lot, but with this exercise, you get raised the water, really, you help absorption. How is that works? Don't ask me. This is a separate list, separate knowledge. It's very long story. It's not that simple. Yeah, so as I mentioned before, if you type Ayurveda, so you find this is another Ayur. It means Ayur is life, Veda is knowledge. Yeah, so the knowledge about life, that's how it translates from the Sanskrit. And it basically means how to stay healthy, how to support your health. So you can become a practitioner, you can become a doctor. This is ancient medicine, basically, the initial medicine we had. So this medicine never damages anything, it just can help. So we spoke about second element, about the statics, about the heat. Also, the fasting, very good for you. If you can stay only on the water and not eat for 24 hours, it's basically not for 24 hours. In the evening time, when you go sleep, you wake up, you spend all day not eating, and you spend another night. So it becomes not 24, it's 36 hours with no food. So you clean also the channels. Ideally, you have to stay for 2 days with no eating for fasting, just with the water. But that's very, very advanced level. So staying static 65 minutes, it's wonderful. But staying static 65 minutes against the tree, with the back touching, with the spine touching the tree, obviously how to choose the tree and for what is another different info, different knowledge. Because some of the trees, for example, I just give you a rough idea. Any conifer trees, basically the ones who has some spikes on it, it helps to kill the virus. Yeah, we're talking about the spruce, pine, and red tree. Is plenty of trees have spikes. Yeah, I don't know all the names, to be honest. And so if you stay with the tree, you have to be also careful. Yeah, because tree, it has huge energy, very huge heat. So once you're staying solid, again, you're not supposed to move even the leg or feet or your body like that, nothing like that. You just stand like a soldier. So that will be the double health. Yeah, basically, if you have, you can investigate. If you have some cold and you go for the tree for 65 minutes, after a certain time the cold will be gone, becomes dry. Your nose becomes dry. So that's how powerful is the tree. You don't need to believe me by the word. You can investigate. Only just very stupid people rejects everything straight away with no doing anything. So this video is not for that stupid people. It's automatic selection. I just, sorry, I have to call the names in reality, because I've got so many dodgy commentaries. I'm trying to be helpful. People send me you're selling snakes oil and something like that. So, and I'm very thankful for the people who are thankful, who taking in account and doing this all. So this was about the fire in your body and the element of air. It requires movement. Basically, obviously, if you had long COVID, you have no power, you have fatigue, you hardly can move. But the point is, you have to start moving. If you can walk, if you cannot walk, you have to do by sitting something. For example, moving hands. Also, you can do for 5 channels. Moving legs, whatever you can move. Yeah, I had one man, he was moving just the face. He had an accident, car accident, so he was paralyzed. So he was moving just eyes and head and all that. So it's an example. And he was shattered in the pieces, and he walked out of hospital within 7 months. Doctors gave him life prescription to be disabled. So anyway, this is different story. So basically, you have to start moving. So ideally, if you can walk, you have to walk. Again, there is certain time for walking, but normally it takes 4 hours to clean all 5 channels. So you have to walk once a week. Don't get me wrong, you have to do the only once a week, every 6 days, to be honest. Yeah, so if you can do this, that's excellent. Obviously, you won't be able to do straight away, but you have to build up. How much you can walk, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So once you approach hour, you become very good healing. Anyway, you start healing your body because you increasing the prana, basically the air in your body, but also you increasing fire. Normally, when you walk for 4 hours or you jogging, if you can jog, that cuts your time halfway. Yeah, so you have to jog 2 hours. Even you can jog less if your speed is better. But in this case, you have to be very careful, because this is, we're talking about raising your energy, not losing your energy. How to put that correct? Ideally, you have to use 70, maximum 80% of your power to do any exercise. Yeah. So basically, if you jogging, you cannot jog with, you know, hardly to stay hardly alive after that. You have to build up. So, especially if you do the three static exercise, so your jogging becomes much easier also. Yeah, if you do after that, it's much easier. If you do straight away jogging, it's much difficult. I'm talking about long distance because I give you just general term. Basically, you have to jog for 2 hours and make 17 kilometers. In British American style would be just little bit about 10 miles. Yeah, so 17 kilometers. You can translate whatever. Yeah, I don't bother to say this, you know, it's more exact 70 kilometers than saying 10 miles and ish some yards, you know. I'm European myself, so I'm not used to all these empiric measurements. Don't care about them at all. They're not the best ones, you know, to calculate anything. It's not because I just grown with that, but you know, they're more complicated. So anyway, at least for me. So basically, you have to do 17 kilometers. If you walk, because your walking speed is less, so it works out 4 hours about 22 kilometers. Yeah, so pretty much you have the idea how much you have to walk and what speed you have to keep. So if you're jogging, your speed from 7 minutes to 6 minutes, that's kind of adjusts your speed and distance and the time, how much you have to jog. So basically, because when you're jogging or you're walking, your body temperature raises, it raises the heat. That heat automatically pushes any disease also out of the body. Yeah, it's a big procedure running through that time. You're generating the energy, you're raising the heat which sits inside you. Yeah, you're raising the heat and you're killing the virus. So that's very powerful, what I was just talking about. And when you start doing this all, you will see your food absorption, any water absorption, any, you know, vitamins or anything, it becomes real. Yeah, because once your body is so polluted, infunctional, it's not functioning. So you can take whatever you like, it's not gonna work, it's not gonna be helpful. It's like, I don't know how to say, analogy is, let's say you're building a house and you're bringing very nice materials to that house, but you don't need those materials. You already used some materials, or you need different materials, and you're bringing very nice good materials, but you're not gonna use, so those good materials becomes scrap. So that's what is becoming in our body. We just bringing more and more toxins, more pollution. So, and that's again very good place for the disease. So everything will be improved, even your mood, everything. You will get out of fatigue, and not only fatigue. This treatment is so powerful that you can easily, not easily obviously, but you can treat schizophrenia, any mental disease. Obviously you need more probably advice, but you don't need to get in touch with anyone, you just have to keep on going. I give you just roughly sense how much you have to stay in the water. You can do in your bath. For example, if your water is, let's say, 12 degrees, you can do the bath 12 degrees. You have to stay 20 minutes in the water to clean all the 5 channels. It's not necessary up to the neck, it's enough up to the armpits. Yeah, so again, if you go on my website, you can see video and photo how I'm sitting in the water. Obviously, I can give you more exact timing, but on as a certain degree, let's say if you stay in the water 27 degree, yeah, that's normally where the women starts sitting. 27 degree, you have to stay for 75 minutes in the water. It's warm, it's nice in swimming pool. Obviously, I always prefer water to be alive. That means lake or river. It's not easy to find, maybe sometimes, depends on where you live. But that's pretty much it. If you start become, and obviously you have to spend always every day in the nature. No nature, no health. Nature cannot be underestimated. I'm not talking just about walking with the bare legs if they're warm enough, and going just for swimming and all that. So it's all very helpful. There is more instruments to deal with that, but just this is very general approach, and I wish you all good luck. Thank you for watching, and obviously try to subscribe to see more news. I'm not putting very often, but if you take seriously, the topics are very serious.